Viewers, welcome to this lecture series on biological techniques. I am Dr. Gijo Harry. Today's lecture is on the wax embedding techniques for making anatomical sections. Now, what is wax embedding? Wax embedding basically refers to the casting or blocking of tissue section, which involves the enclosure of the tissue in the filtration medium used for processing and then allowing the medium to solidify. So it involves the casting or blocking of a tissue, and it involves enclosing of that tissue in an infiltration medium such as wax and allowing the medium to solidify, and that enables the histologist to easily section the tissue into smaller parts. Now, tissues are embedded by placing them in a mold filled with melted embedding medium such as paraffin wax, which is then allowed to solidify. Now, I want to look at the requirements for embedding. What are the requirements for embedding? They are as follows. 1. A supply of clean filtered paraffin wax. So paraffin wax is one of the requirements, and the paraffin wax should be 2 to 4 degrees Celsius above its melting point. The second requirement is a cold plate, and the cold plate is used to rapidly solidify the wax. Then we also need a supply of molds in which to embed the tissues. A supply of molds. The molds are used to embed the tissues. Next, we want to look at the procedure or the steps for carrying out the wax embedding. The wax embedding technique involves the following steps. 1. Obtain a fresh specimen, and this involves the collection of plant or animal material. It could also be the parts of animals or even humans, like the heart, the liver, the lungs, and even ovaries of females and other parts that are cut off during surgeries, or parts of such organs are now used for histological tests. And those histological tests may involve checking whether there is cancerous cell or other things. So the sample is then obtained and usually cut into smaller pieces, if necessary, with the aid of a razor blade or a surgical blade. The second step is fixation. In this step, you immerse the specimen in a killing or fixing agent such as formaldehyde solution or formalin, and this formaldehyde solution easily penetrates the sample and causing it to change physically and chemically, and then harden and preserve it for subsequent processing. So that's the second step. Now the third step is dehydration. And what is dehydration? Dehydration basically involves immersing the specimen in a series of ethyl alcohol solutions, especially tertiary butyl alcohol (TBA), of increasing concentration until pure water-free alcohol solution is reached. So basically, you immerse the sample in a series of ethyl alcohol, and that's the process of dehydration. Then we have the fourth step, which is clearing. And what is clearing? Clearing is done with the aid of ethyl alcohol, and that ethyl alcohol basically is substituted with liquid paraffin in clearing. So in clearing, liquid paraffin is used to replace paraffin wax. The liquid paraffin is an intermediate solvent that is fully miscible with both alcohol, ethanol, and paraffin wax. The fifth step basically is wax infiltration. The liquid paraffin is then substituted with paraffin wax in this stage. During wax infiltration, paraffin wax is used to substitute liquid paraffin, and after a suitable infiltration period, you will now go into the next step, which is the embedding or blocking out. The sixth step, embedding or blocking out. In this stage, the infiltrated specimens are poured into molds, which then are fixed to microtome trucks for sectioning. So basically, in this embedding or blocking, the specimens are poured into the molds and then they are allowed to set and then affixed to microtome chucks for section cut. They are now cut into smaller pieces basically, and that's the 7th step, trimming. And in this step, you trim the top and the bottom faces of the square and the oriented block so that when you section it, a ribbon is formed. Then the 8th step is sectioning. In this case, you section the tissue into very thin slices, usually done with the microtome. Then the 9th step is the wax and dehydrate. You dewax and dehydrate the specimen. You dehydrate and dewax carefully. Then the 10th step is staining and mounting. This involves staining the sections and mounting them on a microscope slide and covered with a cover slip and then filled. So at this stage now, you now identify the tissues or whatever is wrong with the tissues, and then you write your diagnosis and record. Basically, that's the wax embedding technique. Thanks a lot for watching. I am Dr. Gijo. Please keep watching more of my videos from my YouTube and TikTok channels.